Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to continue this incredible series of the best games of all time and in 2026. If you haven't watched it, go and check the previous video where I take a look at the bottom 20 games of the 100 best games of all time, 100 to 81. And today we're going to go from 80 to 61. Before we do that, though, you may wonder, how did they do this list? Well, there's a website, Meeple, where you can input or load all the games that you played, or you can make a list of games. And what I did, I put all the games that range between 10 and 8.5, I think, and they get matched. And then I pick basically which one of the pair that is shown to me every time I like them all, so I'm more eager to play, things like that. And then the website spit it out the list. And here we have it. And I like to compare how the games are doing compared to maybe last year and so on and so forth. Also, I want to add another thing is that I don't put legacy games. I feel like they are amazing legacy games. They are fantastic experience, but because that game has a limited number of plays, I don't think it deserves to be top 100. This is my opinion. I probably have many people that would disagree, and perhaps so we can have an argument that some of them really deserve to be in this list. But I didn't want to put it there. That's it. Okay, number 80. At number 80, we have a series of games. It's not only one, we have multiple of them, and these are the Sherlock Files. Sherlock Files is a cooperative game, and you're going to have a deck of cards. You deal these cards to the players, and players will decide whether to keep the cards or reveal them or discard them. There's a scoring system, but honestly, I don't care. It's more about solving the game. The cards have mostly picture, not much writing. You have a little bit of background story, and then you have this picture. And based on the picture, you need to figure it out what happened. You need to answer some questions. It's very, very engaging. It really brings every time lots of conversation between the people around the table. It is very approachable. I can play with anyone. And so it's that kind of game that I keep it aside. And when there's a maybe I want to spice up a little bit the night, I take it out, introduce it to people, and it's always a nice way to start a conversation and talk to each other. Number 80, the Sherlock Files. At number 70, we have a new entry. I'm so glad to try this game, and this is the Lost Ruin Arnax. I was really looking forward to playing this game because all the reviews that I've seen it, all the art looks amazing. And I was no, I wasn't disappointed in a game that definitely met its expectation. Maybe not at 100%, but met the expectation. Maybe that's why I'm a 79, not higher. At its core, it's a worker placement game. You take your pawn, you select a location that you want to go up at the tracks, explore, fight a monster, whatever. And you do this also by using special powers that are given into your cards. Some people talk about deck building, but I really disagree that this game is a deck building for the simple reason that in a deck building, you want to have combos on your deck. You want to have a bigger deck because you draw more cards, you can do more stuff. Here, drawing is not that easy. You're always limited, I think, for 5, 6 cards. And so if you expand the deck too much, the special action that you want to take, it might not show up when you need it, or you need to wait a lot of time to see it. So you need to build your deck, but you need to be clever and decide when to stop. And that I really, really like about this game. Number 79, Lost Ruin of Arnax. Number 78, we have a game that was 83 last year, essentially didn't move that much. This is also a series of games. It's the system so solid that deserve it to be in the top 100, and this is unmatched. And I put here Cobble and Fog because this box has the character that I have enjoyed the most. This game is taking all system of Star Wars Duel, where you have miniatures fighting to each other, and each character, each miniature associated with that one deck. And it's usually it's a 2-player game, and you move your miniature, and then you simultaneously reveal a card, and you fight. They be an attack card with value of 5, the defense card a value of 3, you subtract, and that's how much damage it does. But there's more. Each card has a special power associated with what the person in front of you plays, the location, the character. Is very thematic. I like Dracula that suck blood and they heal, and then you have the Invisible Man that shows up and then disappear again, and you have, for example, the Raptors. There are three of them. They work very well when they are together because they're like a pack of dinosaurs. It's very, very strong. When you isolate them, they are weaker. Very, very cool concept. I have not played the cooperative version, which I really, really want to try, but still an excellent game. Number 78, Unmatched. And number 77, we have a party game. You're not going to see many party games. They are fantastic party games, but very few make something very different, very special. And this is one of them. That's not a hat. That's not a hat. You have a deck of cards with very simple figure. You deal one card to each player, and that player needs to memorize what it is. And then based on what you see, there's going to be some passing around cards. And at some point, people need to say what cards in front of them after several passing. And so at the beginning, it's very easy, but when you have many cards of passing and more card adding such and such, you're gonna forget what it is. And that's the beauty, the funny thing is, you're gonna call Giovanni and he said, no, you're saying you have an umbrella. You don't have an umbrella. Or at the same time, you have Federica, very confident. She said she has a die. She passed it along and everyone, I don't think that's a die, but she was so confident. And so that's the game. Are you gonna call it out or you're gonna like get through? And so at the end of the game, whoever I think gets busted 3 times or eliminated 3 times loses and the other people win. We really don't care about that. We just enjoy the process. People criticize it might be just a memory game, but it brings so much fun. It's so easy to teach. I think it deserves this spot on number 77. That's not hard. Number 76, we have a game that actually raised from last year. Last year was 86, so it gains 10 position. This is 1817. 1817 is what is called an 18XX game. The XX part is because all these games have the same name, 18 something. It's a year. All these games are train routing games where players build railroads for several companies and they trade stocks, shares, short the shares, bankrupt a company. The goal is at the end of the game having the most money. And you do it by managing companies, which are not your company, you're just managing financially to sometimes just benefiting them, or sometimes, making bankrupted to feed a company maybe you are very much invested in. And you do this with, like I said, the stock manipulation, negotiation, very, very interactive. It's a little bit long sometimes, but it's a genre that I really enjoy and I hope to play it more. Number 76, 1817. Number 75, we have a new entry. This is an abstract game and is Reef. A Reef, you are trying to build a reef with nice, chunky plastic components, colorful components, and you build it there and you score points based on the pattern that you make. And the pattern can be three-dimensional in terms of how high you build, or if you look at from the top, what kind of rearrangement of colors you have. What I like about it is that the card that you have in your hands can give you scoring condition, but also allow you to draw tiles. And so there is that kind of tension. Which card are you going to use to pick up tiles and which card are you going to use for scoring? And it's a constant combo-esque feeling and race to score more and more points. It's very, very satisfying. It's a nice blend of things, of mechanics like in Zuo and Cascadia. And this is a very nice introductory abstract game that works very well with all the families. Number 75, Reef. Number 74, we have another new entry, and this is Ego, Extraterrestrial Greeting Organization. This game this year was a blast. This is a push your luck auction game. You have several boards that can change from game to the game, except a couple, and you have a spaceship going through this location. And so you know what's going to happen. Some of these locations are very mundane or very straightforward. You get a couple of cards, you get some resources, you can exchange resources. But there are two types of locations that are the meat of this game. One is the push your luck aspect, where you try to draw cards from the deck and hoping to match a specific suit for that specific location. If you draw enough cards that have the same suit required, you get them all in your hand. If you have some of them, then you will get those that match plus a negative token, angry alien token. But if you have none of them that match, you don't get anything. And I like that because it doesn't punish you that much if you had a bad draw. Because drawing cards is incredibly important. The cards are your money to bid in the second most important aspect of this game, the auction, which eventually will grant you the most points throughout the game. You auction by bidding with cards. And what is cool about this auction and different from any other auction is that when you bid, you can raise the previous bid or you can match it. And this is an excellent twist because in every game, racing is a quite strong action because the other person needs to raise again, so needs to have more value in your hand. But in this game, when you raise, you know that your opponents can just simply match. So they don't need to have higher cards than you, and they're gonna put you pressure when the turn goes back around to you. Very, very interesting. I like auction day, and this game really, slapped me in the face with this mechanic and really threw me off. I'm very good at auction games, and now the first time I played this game, I was like, "Whoa, what's happening here?" And as soon as it clicked, oh, this is very incredible game. A little bit, it's not a cup of tea for everyone, but if it is, it's a fantastic experience. Number 74, Ego. Number 73, we have a game that was 44 last year. It's a small card game, and this is Archaeology, the new expedition. This is a very simple card game. You have cards that have some values, and you want to play those same cards, make a set of identical cards, place it down, and the more you have, the higher the scoring point. The thing is, when you place it in front of you, you cannot add more cards to it. So you hold on them until you have a big chunk of it, and then you can play. But by drawing cards, at some point you may encounter teeth or you encounter sandstorms that will force you to lose cards. And so there is that tension when you're going to play your big city. Are you going to push your luck and wait for one more round? Can I draw one more card? There are also special cards that allow you to explore monuments that give you more cards. Very, very simple game, but yet engaging and goes well with everyone. Number 73, Archaeology. Number 72, we have also a card game, and this is the Blood Inn. I'm so glad that now this game is available again on retail because it's a fun game. It's a really simple card game, but it's so much fun. The Bloody Inn, you kill your patrons that come into your hotel, you steal your money, but you have a problem. You need to dispose of the corpse, and so you need to bury them. And you can bury them by yourself, or you can spend some extra money and ask the grave digger to take care of them. But be careful, if the police catch you, well, you are in trouble. And what I like about this game, besides its whimsical theme, and yeah, it looks a little bit dark, but the way it is described in the game and the art is very, very cute. What I like is the cards have a dual action. You can use it for the value itself, but you can use it to spend a complete action. So I really like that tension. How much, you have a good card that you want to use it, maybe, for the money. I also need a card to complete an action to dispose the corpse or whatever before the police arrive. Very interesting mechanics. Excellent game. Number 72, The Bloody Inn. Number 71, we have another new entry, and this is an abstract game that I didn't expect to like. It was very well rated, but by reading the rule book, I didn't think something very interesting. But when I played it, I loved it. And this is Cascadia. In Cascadia, you have a very simple choice. You have in front of you a river with tiles, and each tile is associated with a token, an animal token. And so you take whatever pair you like. You can spend an acorn to split those pairs and pick one tile and an animal token that you like. And then you need to place the tile and animal token in front of you on your tableau. How you're going to place them? Well, the tiles are simply placed in a very simple way. You want to keep the mountains together, the river together, because the greatest area of that type will score the most points. The animals have some restriction. All the tiles can accept all the animals, and you want to place the animals based on some combination that is different every game. Very, very crunchy, very easy to teach, but yet it's so engaging to see people are going for big points in a very long stream of salmon or having a huge mountain area. So it's really lots of way to find your room. Like if you see someone going for a river, maybe you can focus on the mountain and complete that because you can do everything. And really, really like this one. Number 71, Cascadia. Number 70, we have another game from 2025, a new entry, fantastic little card game, and this is Otter. Otter is a card shedding game. So you start with a big hand of cards, you want to get rid of it, and you want to be the first one to do so. In the way you do it is by feeding the otters in front of you with the cards that you have in your hands. Each order has two requirements about one of the value of the card. It can be even numbers, so below 20, something like that. And then has a type of food like a shellfish or a frog or a fish. And those animals are the suit of your cards and the values in the cards. And so you can play a card matching at least one of the two conditions. However, if you match both conditions, you can play again. And so the goal, the strategy here is try to create a combo where you can play multiple cards at the same time throughout your turn. To mitigate, obviously, or to increase the chances to make these amazing combos is that at the beginning of your turn, you have one choice to make. You can start drawing cards from the pile, and for each card that you draw, you can make a new rearrangement, one head or tails of the other. So setting yourself up for a great combo. Obviously, there's the drawback that you don't know what card is gonna be drawn, and I really, really like that tension. I really like the combo feeling. Discard all the cards that you have. I like the race element. Fantastic family game. This is number 70, Otter. Number 69, we have another new entry. This is also a card game, and this is Furnace. In Furnace, you have two phases of the game. One is an auction, and one is your engine building. Your engine building is very straightforward, very classic. You pop some cards to get resources and convert these resources to activate other cards and so forth, and then eventually score points. But the cool thing is the bidding. You have some tokens that you can bid cards, and when you bid on a card, you can win the card if you are the highest bid, or if you are not, you get the resources that can help trigger or do stuff on your engine. And so I like that tension. I like that decision. You don't have to bid always to win, but you can bid sometimes to have just the resources. And sometimes doesn't go in the way you want it. So I like that you need to be thoughtful in how you bid. Really, really simple game, very engaged. I always like this kind of small engine building that is completed in 30, 40 minutes. Number 69, Furnace. Number 68, we have a game that is climbing. It's an old game. It was 92 last year and now it's 68. And this is Tobago. I don't know. I guess the classic look, maybe because there's not a game that does the same thing. In Tobago, you are explorer trying to find treasure and get the most out of these treasures. In the way you do it is by playing cards that narrow down where that treasure can be. And eventually the treasure will be found and you're going to put treasure cards in a stockpile. And all the players that have participate or contribute to discover the treasure get a chance to have something on the treasure. And the way you do it, just you reveal one of the cards from the treasure, maybe for example, 3 doubloons, 3 coins, and you said, okay, Bob, do you want it? Yes or no? And Bob said no, and it's going to be the next player, and so on and so forth. There might be higher values than 3, but it could be a curse, which it will cause you negative points. So there is always that kind of, oh, so I want it. If it's one coin on the right away, definitely there are going to be better cards later on, maybe not. So really, really like it. Very simple to teach, very engaging, entertaining. And number 68, Tobago. And number 67, we have a game that has dropped quite a bit from last year. It was 19, this year is 67. I think I'm done with this game. I think there are better games that they do similar stuff, and I don't want to play this one anymore. But I recognize it's an excellent game, and this is Everdell. Everdell is also a worker placement game, very tight. You don't have many resources, but you can develop resources in a very nice engine by playing cards in front of you. And so it's all about playing cards at the right time, making combo, and trying to slow down your placement of your workers. Because once you place all your workers, you go to the next season and you start over again. You can withdraw them. And so the good player is the one that can optimize each turn at the maximum. And I like this idea. I like this fact that some people are ahead of the game a little bit, some people are behind. You can catch them up, and et cetera, et cetera. What I don't like is that at some point you can see that you are way far behind and you cannot catch up. And the other one is that you have a huge deck of cards, and some cards work very well together. And you have one card of the pair, you're searching for the other one, and will never show up throughout the game. I know there are other versions of Everdell that fix that. I want to play those. Maybe they can replace Everdell in the top 100. I don't know if Everdell is going to be still in the top 100 next year. I hope maybe if I play anymore, we'll just see. Anyway, at number 67, Everdell. Number 66, another worker placement game, and this is Raiders of the North Sea. Last year was 75, this year 66, so essentially the same. What I like about this game is it's a worker placement game, but you don't have a worker. You place a pawn and to activate a location, but an opponent can use that pawn and withdraw it. Why the opponent wants to withdraw the pawn? Because it will activate the location again. And I really like that. And I like that the pawn can upgrade it. And so if Natalie upgrades the pawn and she plays it, I can use it on my next turn. And I really like that interaction. And then there's a nice push your luck or fighting element where you gather cards, which are your Viking crew, and you use those cards to go and pillage villages. There's some lack of element. You need to roll some dice and have the total attack value of your Vikings higher the dice that you roll. Really, really like it. Number 66, Riders of the North Sea. Number 65, we have another card sending games. Were 35 last year, and this is Scout. In Scout, you have a very classic card sending game in terms of, if a player before you plays a pair, you need to play another pair with a higher value. The catch here is the card in the decks have always two values, one above and one below. But when you draw a card and you put your hand, you cannot adjust it, you cannot orient it where it goes, and you cannot rotate unless you do a scout action. And I really like that puzzle, how you gonna move them around, when to play the scout action. Very, very cool. Allows you to make you feel clever. And I like this in games. And number 65, Scout. Number 64, we have a big drop. This is a very one beloved games, but I don't know. And last times I played, it didn't go as well as I was hoping for. And this is King of Tokyo. It was 24 last year. King of Tokyo, you roll dice and you make your monster fight against other monsters. You know, and you can go for the big showdown, you knock them off, or you can go for points. If you get sets of 1, so 2, and 3, you score points. If you get energy, you can get special cards. Very, very simple game. It plays well with any player count. Well, except 2, I think. But any player count, you have lots of fun. It's very quick. There's all the cheering element and pusher like a helping. I can punch one more, so I can knock you off. And there's player elimination. That's true. It's a little bit old fashioned, but it plays so quickly. I don't mind. And number 64, King of Tokyo. Number 63, we also have a big drop. It was number 10 last year, but I haven't played in a while. I don't own it anymore, and perhaps that's why it's in this position. This is Sight. Sight is a fantastic game. I love the setting. I love what you do. But I play so much that if I have the opportunity to put on the table and have that much time, I would perhaps prefer playing some modern games. Inside, you have a board where you select one action each turn, and your action could be deploy a mech, get resources, build usual Euro stuff. But the cool thing is eventually you can get upgrades. You can upgrade your main action, but you can also upgrade or unlock the bottom action. And that makes it each turn more interesting. I like also there's a track that the highest you go, the highest is the multiplier for having territories, for completing missions. The campaign, I think, is amazing and incredible experience. So this is a fantastic game. Number 63, Sight. Number 62, we also have a grandiose game. It was 27 last year. This is a two-player only game, and it's Star Wars: The Queen's Gambit. This Star Wars is essentially the final battle in the first episode of Star Wars. You have the rebels going to the palace, you have the battle on Andor, you have the Jedi, you have Anakin, and everything going at the same time. Lots of miniature, lots of space, but the core mechanic is very simple. You have a deck of cards which indicate the action you're going to take. You're going to program it at the same time with your opponent and then reveal one card at a time. What I like about this game is that almost each card has two different action, two different battlefield. That means if the opponent does something that you didn't expect it or it goes very well for your opponent, your program is not totally useless. You can pivot somehow. Sometimes it's not great, but at least you can do something on your turn after a big, strong turn of your opponent. There's rolling dice. There's lots of tension, adrenaline for this. I really, really like it. It was higher last year because I played it more. This year I played it only once. It was a lot of fun. It's very hard to bring it to the table, but it's a nice treat. And yes, it's hard to find. Therefore, if you manage to get your hands on the cheaper version called Star Wars Risk, which replicate the 6 episode final battle, that game is also share the same mechanics, different theme, and different troops on the board, but same feeling, same adrenaline, same fun. And number 62 for me in this list, Star Wars: The Queen's Gambit. At 61, we have the biggest drop among this list. It was 8 last year. This year is 61, simply because I don't play anymore. This is Chronicles of Crime. Chronicles of Crime is a whodunit type of a game where you need to solve a mystery. And the way you do it, you use an app and a Defco cards with QR codes, and you scan those QR codes to interact with the card, to ask questions. You may scan a QR code for a location, and you have a virtual reality experience to navigate through the location and find evidence that will help you solving the case. And then you can have items. You can scan the QR code item, and then the character in terms of mimicking, you asking question about the item. Eventually, the time will run out. You're gonna have to answer some questions. The story is very nice. All the stories are very nice. Every box it brings some new twist, some deduction, some logic, some special tools, and you need to figure out how and when to use them. I'm so pumped that this year it's gonna be a new release of another trilogy, Chronicles of Crime, Beyond Doubt. Really look forward, and I hope by playing it, this game will go back up into my top 100. And here you have it, from 80 to 61 fantastic games. Honestly, no, my collection is pretty big, but if all my collection disappear and these 20 games stay, I will be super happy for many, many years. And if you made it so far, I want to thank you. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. You know the drill. This is not your first YouTube video, am I right? Thank you very much, and see you next time. Ciao.